Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to our series in social studies. I'll be your presenter today, and I'm Christopher Humble. Now, back in the day, Auntie Roche said, back in time, it was difficult in Jamaica. The dirty did tough. Potter boil, dirty tough. But whilst potter boil, dirty tough, some people were living the good life. Picture this. People living in bright houses on the hill, getting all the sunshine. Whilst you're living in the valley, you're experiencing hard life. You have a little pot on the fire. Some people now, they have gas stoves. They're going through life so easily. Electricity wasn't all well then, so we didn't have a Jamaica public service. But sections of the island had electricity. Like down in Black River, first place to get electricity in Jamaica, before even the city of New York. But during these hard times, there was a division. Bob Marley would call it some isms or some schisms. But this division separated black from white, Chinese from Indian. And this separation affected us. So today in our lesson, we're going to look at the relationship between the East Indians, the Chinese, the Europeans, and the Africans, or some would call them the Afro-Jamaicans, because they were here before the Indians and the Chinese. Now, at the end of this lesson, students will be able to describe the relationship between the groups of the Indians, the Chinese, the Europeans, and the Africans in the post-emancipation period. The prefix post means after. So this is after 1838. This is after August morning, come again, and we get emancipation. Queen Victoria set we free, Jubilee, Jubilee. So after that now, the early challenges faced by the East Indians and the Chinese. New country, Jamaica brand new to them. They were experiencing a different feeling. New language, so they hear the patois, what a go on, boss? What? They weren't used to those words. So they're hearing those things. It's a new culture. So they're learning new ways to cook the rice. They met upon the Africans who made rice and peas with the pigtail on top, or the piece of the beef on the top. Ask grandma, great-grandma, and grandpa about these things, because this is what they did. So the immigrants now came and saw that. But they brought with them the little curry, the Chinese sauce, and that changed our culture a bit. Remember, culture is a way of life. And sometimes that way of life must change, because culture doesn't remain as it is. It changes over the time period. And you have to make that change in your life. The immigrants had to adjust to these new conditions. So the Chinese now had to learn to plant the pak chow, but cook it differently. Chinese intermingled with the Africans, so you have some people named with Lee, Chin, Kong, but they look like this and not this complexion. Those are the descendants. So there was an integration of the culture, a combining the culture, so the different groups combined and they assimilated. Those are the terms that we need to learn to use. Assimilation meaning fully becoming members of this new society. So I want to be a part of your group. You're at school and there is an eat table which eats lunch every day. You want to be a part of the popular group. But what is the cost to be a part of that popular group? So you look at the culture and you want to be a part of it. And that is you assimilating to that culture, which is the same thing the East Indians and the Chinese did when they came to the Caribbean. They tried to be a part of the culture that included the Afro-Jamaicans. Now, the beginnings in the late 1800s, let's look at that. The Africans stayed on the plantations after slavery, some of them that is. Some went to settle and form what we call free villages. We can see such free villages today in Sligoville, the most famous of them all. But there's also Augustown in Kingston. Now, the Chinese, the Indians, and some Europeans that came from Madeira Islands, they came and they settled and they worked together. Now, the problem with this, remember at the beginning I told you what Auntie Roche said, the division. Bob Marley talked about the isms, and that isms lead to them calling the Indians coolie. Most Indians don't like to be called coolie. They think that it's a bad term. Coolie in Hindi, Indians that is, remember the Indians, they are Hindus, but they speak the Hindi language. And in the Hindi language, coolie means hard-working laborer, or a worker or a laborer. Some of the Indians, we must remember, they came from a caste system, as was stated in the previous lesson. The caste system being that you were born in that class or caste, and once you were born in it, you remain in it. If you were born a Brahmin, which was the highest of the class, you remain in it. If you were born an untouchable, which was the lowest of the class, you will remain in that class. Some of the untouchables that came to the Caribbean realized that the term coolie would affect them because it's a stigma, you call it. A stigma is something that you attach to somebody. You want that person to remain like that, so you keep on calling them coolie, coolie, coolie. You know, sometimes you hear the song, there's a brown girl in the ring, cha-la-la-la-la, brown girl in the ring, but sometimes some people change it to be, there's a black girl in the ring. Nothing is wrong with saying there's a black girl in the ring, but some of us, we have a stigma to the term black or brown. But however, we must remember our motto says, out of many, one people. So Jamaica produced the best people overall in the world because we're made up of different races, different people, different color. So we learn tolerance from our motto, out of many, one people. We'll take a break now, and when we return, we'll continue looking at leaving the plantation.